Jonathan, can you go see if Miss Walker is still in her room, and if she is, can you tell her can I see her before she leaves?
Okay.
Thank you. Did y'all just see her leave? Michaela, did you see her leave? Okay, thank you. I know she just said it, but I don't know. She had a good. Savannah's here, Matthew's here, Caitlin's here, Abigail's here, Sammy's here, Isabella's here, Christian Soraya, Abraham, Nicholas, no, Jonathan Itzel, yes. Okay, so just for clarification, I have Itzel's, Abraham's, Caitlin's, Soraya's, Abigail's, Jonathan's, Nicholas, and Emily's. And I'm missing Savannah, Matthew, Sammy, Isabella, and Christian. You did give me your, did?
I'll send it by PDF.
Okay. 'Cause I remember I said send it back, but I don't think I went back on it.
Okay.
So I think I have yours, I just need to go back and print it off. Cause PNGs, if you send a picture, it's always blurry when I'm printing, so it needs to be a PDF, so it's not blurry. Okay, so if I didn't call your name, I need yours, okay? Kristen, did you send it to me through my email or Canva? Canvas.
I replied to your email. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Wait until 2:35, and Savannah's first. Oh, I see it, yeah. But Christian, go ahead and go use the hall pass and go run your pages. I put it in the front office, just ask me something before, okay? Okay guys, so just for clarification, remember that we have about 13 days until our technical paper is due. I know that sometimes you guys don't start stuff a little like the day before or two. Again, that's fine, just please make sure to do it, okay? Make sure to do it. I'd rather you turn it in a day late than not turn it in at all, because it's a test grade. And I would emphasize that it is a test grade. So you can do as well as you want on it, but it's only gonna help. If you turn it in late, or don't turn it in at all, I should say. If you don't turn it in at all, then I can't give you anything, okay? So, we're going to go ahead and start chapter 12. Go ahead and read the objective for me, please. Thank you, sir. So, number one, we will analyze, or no, we will, number one,
Analyze.
Mendelian.
Genetics.
Number two, solve.
Monohybrid.
And
Dihybrid.
crosses, number three,
Divide.
and analyze.
Mendelian.
Genetics. So again, when we look at genetics as a whole, I think that most of the time we put in our heads Mendelian genetics, which is how things fit very nice and cooker cuttery, and how if this happens, you're always gonna get this as a result, which you can usually do in a Punnett square. So if you can do it in a Punnett square, that's Mendelian genetics, okay, essentially. Okay, there's a couple if these when it comes to non-Mendelian genetics, but for the most part, Mendelian genetics is nice and straightforward. Okay, there's no kind of watery or no if and then or buts are gonna happen, okay? If that makes sense. It's very straightforward, okay? So, who is the father of genetics? Says it right there on them. Gregor Mendel is the father of genetics because he is the first one to quantify the results of experiments of like mixing stuff up. Again, humans for thousands and thousands of years were really good at saying, you know what, I like this, and I'm gonna make these things, have a baby, and see what I get. And again, humans are really good at that. Again, we produce anything that's on a farm, we have essentially selected for artificially those specific traits that we want. So again, anything on the farm, both the plants and the animals, okay? But he's the first one to get credit because he literally was a giant nerd in science and math, and he had tons and tons of notebooks full of his little experiments that he did with pea plants. He literally had thousands of pea plants that he worked with, and he looked at all the results and calculated all these numbers and realized that if I do this and do this, I can get a specific ratio almost every single time. Again, like the 3 to 1, 1 to 2 to 1, all this that we did in lab is very, very similar to what he came up with, okay? Does that make sense? Why does he get credit as the father of genetics? Because he was a nerd, and he wrote down everything. Again, humans, were really good at breeding things to create stuff, new things, specific traits that we wanted. But no one ever put it down, and no one ever created some kind of actual chart or a model to go along with it. Mendel did, okay? So next thing is looking at some basic lettering. So for example, when I create or write down a capital letter, what does a capital letter always represent? Dominant. What does a lowercase letter represent?
Recessive.
When, again, this right here is an allele. This right here is an allele. Remember, an allele is a version of a trait. So for example, this capital R and lowercase r, these are representing the trait for roundness of a p-plane, of a p. So for example, if you are capital or dominant, then you're going to be what?
Round.
Round. But if you are lowercase or recessive, you're going to be wrinkled. That's it. Okay? So if dominant, you're gonna be round. If you're recessive, you're gonna be
Wrinkled.
wrinkled. But we can mix these alleles up to create something like this. So how would we define these alleles? Or in other words, how would we define that genotype? What kind of dominant? Homozygous dominant. So again, how would we define this genotype? Homozygous dominant. Okay. How would we define this genotype?
Heterozygous.
Heterozygous because they are different. Hetero meaning different, homo meaning same. And what about this genotype? How would we classify it? Homozygous recessive. Homozygous again because they're the same, but recessive because they are both recessive alleles. Okay. Again, these individual letters are what? Alleles, which are versions of a trait. And this example was roundness. Together, these alleles constitute the genotype of an organism, the full alleles of whatever it is, okay? While the phenotype would be the physical what? Phenotype would be the physical trait that we can visually see. So for example, again, if this is roundness and it's dominant and recessive is wrinkled, what would they look like? These P's, they would look round. Why? Because they are dominant. It doesn't matter if you have one or two, as long as you have one, you are dominant, which in this case is round. In this case, heterozygous, what would it be?
Round.
What about this one right here?
Wrinkled.
Wrinkled. Just like that. Make sense? Okay, again, you should be familiar with it. It's kind of what we've seen before. So, this next part is looking at just some examples. So this is the top of page 4.2. Okay, we are kind of skipping around a little bit, but let's show you. So, for example, there it goes. So, for example, capital A, what would that one be? Would it be genotype, allele, or phenotype? Which one? Genotype, because again, when the letters are together, that's the genotype. Individually, they are the what? Alleles. What about curly hair? What would that one be?
Phenotype.
Because it's the physical characteristic that we can see. What about lowercase b? That would be an allele. Okay, so I want you guys to go ahead and do the rest of them, and then I'm going to call on you in just a little while to see what the results are. Okay, so what is Green Eyes Christian?
Phenotype.
Plant height is what, Nicholas? Capital M, capital or lowercase m is what, Itzel? Capital O, lowercase o is what, Sarai? Lowercase e is what, Caitlin?
Genotype.
Lowercase s is what, Isabella?
Allele.
And A blood is what, Sammy?
Phenotype.
And capital M is what, Matthew?
Allele.
And capital G is what, Emily?
Allele.
So again, you notice I didn't say they are right or wrong or anything, so are any of these incorrect, or do you feel like these are all perfect?
I feel like I'm good.
What about A blood? Why is that one a phenotype?
That's a genotype.
It's a result, like, from the genotypes is something that your body is already producing. It's not necessarily the genotype, like the letters combination.
Correct, so it's not necessarily the letters individually, but phenotype would be something that we can physically see. Can we see physically A blood?
No.
Technically we can, because we can see the proteins on the surface of a red blood cell, and if you get the wrong type of blood, what happens?
You die.
You can die. Not only that, but the blood coagulates. What is coagulate? Talk we just showed March Fair before.
Wow.
So,
Attack each other. They could attack each other.
yes.
White blood cells.
And it's like a
Yes.
result of the blood type. Yeah, because you have heard of what
Caitlin, you're leaving for the day, but I have the paper that gives you those. So what does coagulate mean? To attach to each other, yes. Yes. So yes, A blood is a phenotype. Question number 2 says, for each of the following, write whether it is homozygous dominant, HD, heterozygous, HT, or homozygous recessive, capital A or HR. So capital A is what? Homozygous what? Dominant. Capital G is what? Homozygous dominant. Lowercase t is what? I didn't hear anything. Homozygous recessive. Okay, go ahead and do the other one, just like we did before, and I'll call on you to fill in the answers. Okay, so capital F, lowercase f is what, Jonathan?
HT.
Heterozygous. Capital P, lowercase p is what, Abigail?
HT.
Heterozygous. Capital T is what, Abraham?
HT.
Homozygous dominant. What is capital A, lowercase a, Savannah?
HT.
Heterozygous. Capital I, lowercase I is what, Christian?
HD.
And capital T, lowercase t is what, Nicholas?
HT.
Heterozygous. Lowercase a is what, Itzel? Homozygous recessive. Capital O, lowercase o is what, Soraya? And lowercase g is what, Isabella? Homozygous recessive. Are all those good, or are there some that we need to think back on? Perfect. So let's look at number 3. For each of the genotypes below, determine what the phenotype would be. So if purple flowers are dominant to white flowers, capital P is what color? Why purple? Dominant. And you just need how many? You need 2 dominant? You just need 1. Again, we're looking at Mendelian genetics, which there is no mixtures, there's no nothing, so it's very straightforward. Okay. Capital P, lowercase p, that is heterozygous, but what color would those flowers be?
Purple.
Purple, because again, we just need 1. 1 dominant, correct. And then lowercase p is homozygous recessive, but what color would those flowers be?
White.
White. Okay, so I want you guys to go ahead and do the next one as well. Does everyone have hairy nipples? Most people don't, right? But what is it? Is it a dominant or recessive allele?
I don't mean that.
It's a dominant allele. Again, knowing this is a good prime example of understanding that just because it's dominant doesn't mean that it's common. Most, not all dominant traits are common traits. Okay? There's a lot of traits that are common that are recessive. So there's this one right here, capital T, lowercase t. What is that one gonna be? Bobtails or normal? This right here, lowercase h,
Non-hairy.
non-hairy nipples. Perfect. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on, and I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys this in time to work on in the class. You guys are really bad in general. No offense to that, to do crash course videos on your own.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. No, trust me, I know. So we're gonna do it in class. 1, 2, 3. Oh my god. I do not know how to count. 2, 3, 4. Okay, Jesus. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys 26 minutes to 30 minutes, because I'm gonna get your Chromebooks out. They better be done. If I hear talking, then I'm gonna need y'all done, okay? And I'm gonna-